Hello everybody. Just doing a little bit of link sharing here. I'll be right with you. Thanks to everyone who's tuning in tonight, especially if you're tuning in 2 nights in a row. Alright, almost done here. Alright, just make sure the stuff went through. I'm pretty mixed on the new Threads app, by the way. I'm not a fan of having another social media app to use. At least with Threads, I kind of just treat it as like an afterthought to Instagram, because it's, you know, connected. I hope it's in, like, you could argue that it's in beta right now, so I hope it makes some improvements. Twitter sure isn't making me confident, though, in its future, especially this week. Okay. I will lower the holding screen now. Hello, everybody. As always, let me know if the microphone and music sounds alright. I got a can crack here we'll start things off with. Oh, got a little bit of Coke across the desk there. Hello, Robert. Wapped in America, good one. Best waps, not caps. Welcome back, Eli. Artie Chard, Robert, oh yeah, we got Robert J and Robert W. Hello to both of you. Roku, I think I said hi to you already. And High Side if you're still here. Alright, let's get the paint set up. Does anyone remember what colors I was painting last time? The pieces I have out ready to paint for tonight, so we'll see how long it takes. I feel like this will take up most of the stream tonight. You might have noticed I started a bit later. We got the 2 arms here. This one started just so I didn't have to spend too much time on stream figuring out where I wanted the colors to go. And then we got the torso. I think we'll probably just focus on finishing up both the arms first and see how long that takes. Yeah, turquoise and black, if you call that a color. Yeah, there's a bit of silver mixed into the gold for the highlighting, but I don't think I've done a pure silver. Well, let's start with the slightly more exciting turquoise. Which, by turquoise, we mean Secret Weapon Titan Dark Navy. Did I put poster? What do you mean, Robert? Oh, poster putty in the joints. No. I used a bit of poster putty to fit the head on the barbecue skewer for holding it for painting purposes, but Yeah, there's one, I think it was this joint, I sanded it down a little bit too much, it became too loose, and I tightened it back up by just letting some super glue dry on it. If that's what you mean. I've used poster putty before, like in a couple of really janky hobby moments. I've used poster putty when I was too lazy to mix up like actual epoxy putty. But that was for something really basic, like putting a magnet on. Let's just put a bit more, and then I need to remember to rehydrate the wet palette before I get the water contaminated with paint. Hello, Shrekus McChekus. Oh, it arrived and you built it in the same day. Impressive. Even if it was agonizing, apparently. Shrekus McChekus, is your profile picture Mista from JoJo's Part 5? It kind of looks like it from the like small view I'm looking at my screen. Oh, you didn't cover any. Oh, yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, this never really happened to me, but I guess I try and like avoid spraying paint on it. And like if I'm reassembling things and it seems really, really tight, I will sand it down a bit. But yeah, it is I am neglecting an important duty and not properly covering them up. I've had silly putty on my like craft shopping list for a while. The last couple dollar stores I've been to just haven't had silly putty actually, which has been kind of annoying. Because that's like good for quick and easy masking for ball joints and stuff like that. Sounds like a good casual party game there, Robert. Alright, an easy one to pull out with a group of people in person. Mista for life. Ah, so I was right. Oh, and hello, Jeremiah. You built the Elfrith. That's a pretty good one for a second one. What was your first one? Oh yeah, an Ariel next. That'll be good. They'll look good next to each other on the shelf. Oh no, you broke your Mika miniature. That's unfortunate. F's in the chat. Hello, John Bear. Alright, let's get base coating. I did the first coats of paint on this arm here, so I could just figure out where I wanted the colors to be blocked, but as you can see, this one needs many coats still. At least one more coat on the black, and I haven't even finished all the black parts. Oh, that was a strong burp one. There we go. Hello, Nathaniel. Welcome. Thank you for coming. Shrek McCheckers built the high-grade GM Sniper 2. A classic. Okay, and I'd like to try and do better with the focus points, or making the camera focus this time. I just have to adjust the setting on the camera there. Hoping that I won't be as jittery with the focus. But you know, we'll see. Okay. Number 1 coming out strong. What's number 1? Does anyone else work on any models or miniatures tonight? I don't have to worry too much about spilling over onto this underarm section because I'll be painting it black. And you can see here I did use a little bit of Vallejo plastic putty to fill in just a little hole from the less than superb nub removal. So all of you watching the stream, when you see the video for this, eventually you'll be like, ah, I know that there's a hole in the arm that he had to fill with putty. He didn't show that in the video. And I didn't record that part, not because I wanted to keep it a secret, it's just because it's not that exciting to show in a video. And sometimes I cut out the boring stuff like that. You know, like I usually say somewhere in the script that I'm doing a top coat, but I don't always need to show the top coat happening because it's just not necessary a lot of the time to spend the screen time doing that. Just catching up on the chat here. You built the entry grade RX 78-2 first. Good, that's a great place to start, obviously. Easy cost to entry. Glad you like the burp, Robert. John, good luck with your Tyranids. You made a machine spirit from 40k Audi Chard. Nice. That sounds pretty cool. Well, you don't need to feel bad for not painting your pile of shame. D&D prep is very valid hobby work. And that sounds like a cool kitbash, Nathaniel. Always a fan of the Astaroth. And Robert, if you're asking about, are you asking about my project? If I primed mine, I did. Good old black surface primer, and then some metallic paints through the airbrush. Burp 2. Well, good luck with your paints when they do arrive, Nathaniel. Just remember to wear proper lung protection and room filtration, or, you know, spray somewhere safe like a garage or whatever, or outside. Gotta be careful. Gotta be careful with those lacquer fumes, you know? You probably know that already, though. Thinned the paint a little too much here. Too much water in there. Gotta make sure it doesn't pool too much, so you can observe as I awkwardly sponge some of it up before it dries into like a weird blob. Just let that dry for a sec. Alright, good on you, Nathaniel. Yeah, thanks for appreciating the burp review, if that's how you say your name. Oh no, already charred. I mean, the first couple times I airbrushed, that definitely, or more than the first couple times. Thankfully, by the time I was airbrushing with lacquer paints, I knew, or I had a respirator already. Oh, I see, Robert. No, I didn't mask up the ball joints, but, you know, arguably I should have. I'm more just like, with a combination of the alligator clips and like the angles of my spraying, I just tried to avoid getting too much paint on those areas. I haven't had a problem with it since, but I suppose I could have been lucky in that way. And you know, a lot of the time I'm like locking or partially locking the poses in place for my kits. Yeah, so I'm adding more paint to the palette even though there is stuff on there just because I over-thinned a bit. And if you're wondering why my hair looks a little weird, it's because I washed my hair earlier. It's very hot where I am, so I needed to take a shower to cool myself down before the stream. And I think it was a good idea because it feels like it's helping. Yeah, the paint still feels a bit too thin. I think for the next little bit I'll have to switch to the smaller brush. Probably what I should be doing anyways, especially for like the bicep sections. Sponge that up a bit. So it doesn't dry into a weird blob. Better angle. Zaku's to look like Bebop and Rocksteady. That sounds great. What a wholesome project. Preemptively pinning, that's a good idea. The Gundam Unicorn soundtrack, I can't say I've gone out of my way to listen to that one after the show. I have listened to the Iron-Blooded Orphans soundtrack, like, separately from the show on Spotify a decent amount of times, or like I put it on my instrumental music playlist. I think I was more compelled to like save that one and re-listen to it because I like the guitar elements on it because I used to play guitar. Yeah, no, Gundam Unicorn was good. It wasn't my favorite Gundam show or anything. I don't hate the Unicorn's design or anything either, but it doesn't... It's not as cool as like the Sinanju or the Rosen Zulu. Those are some fun designs. Well, the Rosen Zulu is fun, and then this, or no, the, yeah, and then the Sinanju is like cool. More of a cool design. The Rosen Zulu is like pretty ridiculous in a few ways. Oh, hey, Vanished Elf. I've done 2 burps already. I don't know if you heard it, either of those, but I still got plenty of fuel in the can, so... I think when I streamed last night, I think I made it to 8 burps. If I'm gonna stream again tomorrow though, I might need to head to the grocery store to get some more carbonated beverages because we're almost out. Almost out of burp fuel. Thank you for agreeing with me on that logo, we know. I'm glad you're also a Rose and Zulu enjoyer. A sign of true class. Don't worry, Vanished Elf, there'll be more burpees. The unicorn soundtrack sounds like, or I'm guessing that would go well with Jedi Fallen Order. Oh no, Vanished Elf, you're gonna miss the next burp. I just took a swig. I gotta make a burp happen immediately. Ugh, I can't force it. I'll burp as soon as I can. I'm sure you'll hear more burps from me eventually though. Yeah, I've thought about doing that before, Nathaniel. I just haven't gotten around to it. And I hadn't thought of like a good easy way to do it. I don't have like a Steam Deck or anything like that. Or I'm assuming I could like just program an easy button that I could just press quickly when I burp. Because if it requires too many clicks or like keyboard work, I don't want to do it because it'll just interrupt the painting flow on the stream. But if it's only like, you know, 1 or 2 clicks to just like up the counter by 1, that would be a good addition. I should also add some more songs to the background music. That's burp 3. Yeah, there's always improvements I can make to the stream, but they're pretty like small ones, so they're easy to put off. And you know, I prioritize the making of the videos and the painting of the actual models first. Yeah, burp counter, maybe one day I'll have that. If I was like a massive, super famous YouTuber streamer, I could hire a mod or something, someone to count them burps. And ideally a mod would do more than just count the burps, but you know, the burps counting is the important part. And if I'm gonna go the effort of painting a Coca-Cola Gundam, I'd want Coke to sponsor me. Give me them Coke bucks. If I'm gonna go to the effort of painting a full-on Coke custom. That sounds like a cool vulture-themed project. I feel like I've been better with keeping the piece in focus with the camera so far this time. Just shove a Vidar into it. And just, you got a spare Vidar head or handy to have around. Vidar does have a pretty good head. You must have replaced its original head with something good. Or that you had the... No, you said it's a spare Vidar head, so you weren't saving it for something. It's like Vidar... Barbatos's design is like... a bit cooler than Vidar's, but like Vidar's head is just as cool as Barbatos's head, if that makes sense. I love it when I can rest the barbecue skewer against my face to stabilize the painting. Oh, we're not in focus, my bad. Failed Vidar for Gamma Wolves, that's too bad. And then one is part of a base, like it's destroyed. Or something like that. When a mech is incorporated into a base, that's what I assume it is. It's like the wreckage that another mech stands triumphantly over. Camera's getting a little jumpy. Oh, once I'm done this bicep section, I will do a good old power cycle, as they say. It's one of the recurring charming themes of my janky low-budget stream. A fish ad. Interesting. Oh, cool, Robert. What is your Gamma Wolves team? Started flipping through my volume 4 of Blaster magazine. Because it has some Gamma Wolves, a Gamma Wolves expansion in it about, it's like some additional campaign rules. I haven't like fully read it yet, but it looks pretty neat. Also flipped a bit through the 5 Leagues from the Borderlands book, which I'm also excited to read more about. Was that burp 4? Decided I need to go over these sections a bit more and not leave the gold along the border because it doesn't look consistent enough to justify painting around in this section. Anyways, there's some other sections where I'm preserving the gold in between the panel lines. So I don't know how long I was out of focus for there. We'll move on to the less finicky forearm section now. Oh, I never power cycled the camera like I said I would. Should get on that. Well, it doesn't look like it's choppy anymore. Maybe I should just let it fix itself. Or maybe I did turn the camera on and off again and I just forgot about doing that already because I'm just so in the painting zone. Oh no, there's some fibers painted into the arm here. There's probably at least one fiber painted into each piece on this kit. That's something to fix off camera. As you probably heard me say last night. This one will need at least one more coat, but we'll switch to the other piece for a bit now. Yeah, the YouTube doesn't give everyone the same ad, nor everyone an ad at the same time. It's weird like that. A team called the Kaiju Collectors. Cool. Is that a Ghosts of Tiamat team? And hello, Hugo. No, I bought a hard copy of Blaster at UK Games Expo. Actually, I chatted with Mike Hutchinson, creator of Gaslands and Blaster, or he's not the creator of Blaster, but he contributes to it. And he had some copies of Blaster for sale there, so I bought some, or I bought one from him. He was very patient with me. I got him to like go through each volume and explain which game supplements were in each one, because I could only afford to buy one, so I bought the one, Burp 5. I bought the one that had the Gamma Wolves expansion in it. You know, predictable of me. I guess I'm a bit old-fashioned with how I like to consume my print media. It's like I look at screens so much for other things when it comes to reading a game thing. It's I usually prefer paper if it's an option. It's not always an option though, which you know is understandable. Alright, see ya, Roku. Yeah, don't quote me if it's volume 4 or not, I could be misremembering it. It's like, it has a Turnip 28 thing in it, and a Gamwolves thing. I mean, there's only like a few chapters in each volume, so hopefully wherever you order it from has a description of what the contents are in that particular volume. I just like can't remember 100% if the one I have is volume 4 or not. Every time I think to myself, I've been pretty good with keeping the piece in focus this stream, I look over at the screen and see I'm out of focus. Alright, see ya, Nathaniel. Good luck with setting up those posts. And hello, Jose. Nitrous, you thought what I was painting was a Gundam artifact? Not quite, it's just the high-grade aerial. Let's adjust this a little bit, make it a bit easier to paint that bicep. Yeah, that'll be better. Come on, camera. Do your thing. No. Why aren't you focusing? Yeah, right now it's feeling like I'll definitely be able to finish the base coats for these arms on the stream, and maybe I'll be able to finish the torso. And then I will finish the rest of the base coats off camera tomorrow. Get the first bit of recording for the edge highlights done. And then, if I have the energy to do another stream tomorrow, then the stream tomorrow can be something other than base coats. It can be some exciting, crispy edge highlighting. Well, the initial edge highlights aren't the crispiest, but you know what I mean. Oh, how many of you have done the Barbenheimer double feature? I saw Barbie on Friday night, and unfortunately it was a busy family weekend, and wasn't able to also see Oppenheimer. I didn't find the spare 3.5 hours, you know, to see that big one, but I'd like to see it eventually. I hear it's good, but I also thought Barbie was very good. It was very enjoyable and funny. And apparently Mattel is gonna just try and do more movies with their properties now, so Barbie was a big success, so I guess we'll get a Hot Wheels movie next or something. What else does Mattel have? And if you did do the double feature, was it Oppenbarber or Barbenheimer? Or Oppenbarbie, I should say. Or did you do Barbenheimer Barbie? Where you see Barbie, then Oppenheimer, and then you palette cleanse with Barbie again, so you're not too bummed out. Oh, that's fair, Hugo. At least you watch my live streams, am I right? I do like historical movies. I say I'm more excited for the upcoming Ridley Scott movie about Napoleon than I was for Oppenheimer. I'm more interested in the older history than like World War II era stuff. But there's lots of good World War II movies out there. Alright, how's the turquoise doing on this one? Right, we could use a bit more on the forearms there. The biceps on this. If we can call those good. Okay, the turquoise is almost done on this. Didn't see any of Gunpla YouTube was on the ball with the algorithm and releasing like a pink custom Barbatos on the Barbie weekend. At least not as far as I saw. I didn't see anyone do that. Feel like that probably would have hit that sweet spot in the algorithm and done well. Burp 6. Curious how many people watching the live stream are like, if you equally enjoy my YouTube, like my long form YouTube videos and my streams, or whether you're just like, you're mostly here for the YouTube videos and you just watch the stream because you can or because you're available, or whether you're like all about the streams and the videos are just like a bonus. I mean, this year I've never had a streaming schedule. This year the closest thing I have to a streaming schedule is like if I'm painting something and there's some paint work that doesn't necessarily need to be recorded for the actual video, then that can be done on a stream if I got the time. Because the main focus is the videos, and the streams, I do them when I get a chance to. I try not to let it usurp the main focus, which is the long form videos, but you know, I'm pretty slow at making those for a variety of reasons. But you know, doing the stream, painting the aerial is at the same time also working for a long form video. So I'm glad I can like provide the stream as a kind of bonus content, you know. Okay, I think I've painted a hair into this section, but it's kind of hard to tell. Okay, well, I will call the turquoise done on that. We still got a bit more turquoise on the palette to use up before we switch to black. But thanks for the feedback, Artie Chard. And I guess related question, how much of it comes down to gunpla? Like, if I release a video, will you watch it whether it's miniatures or gunpla? And this goes for streams too. Or are you like only in it? You're only interested in the gunpla streams? I would ask if you are like only interested in the mini streams as well, but if you're watching this stream then... Or if you're like only interested in the minis content, then I'm assuming you probably wouldn't be watching the stream. That's just some wild speculation there. Sorry about bumping the mic there. It's the first time I did that this stream, so that's good performance there so far. I started off last night with it too close to my face, so I bumped it too many times. At least I'm doing better with that this stream. Good to know that y'all like watching both. Appreciate the positive feedback. I guess I should say it's okay if you don't watch both. If you're only interested in one, I can't stop you from changing your interest. You know, from my perspective, just running the channel, it's always beneficial for me to have more of a variety. If I work on the same thing for too long, it gets more burnt out, or it gets burnt out more easily. As some of you probably know. Hence why the last hand-painted Gundam project was back at, well, the end of March when I did, or the beginning of March when I did the Gushin. Mid-March? I can't quite remember. It was in the winter time. Yes, of course. How could I forget, Robert? As long as there's a WAP, you'll show up. Or you'll try to show up. There should be just enough turquoise left on here to finish it up on this piece. bracing the barbecue skewer against my face. Classic Mayhem style. And this is like from the, I have a selection of barbecue skewers with alligator clips that I keep separate from the main pile of them, because these are the ones with like shorter sticks, because they're better for like handling with the painting purposes. If the stick is too long, then it's too easy to like knock it into things awkwardly. You know, so much of improving the Gundam hand painting process, or like the practice I've gotten, has just been like, you know, getting used to little things like that even. Or like how to use the wet palette right. You know, most of the time what you would think of is like getting better at the brush control and all that. I mean, that definitely happens too. That you could still definitely say that's the more important part. Are there any, I meant to bring this up last stream, are there any fantasy novel enjoyers in the chat? When I was in the UK, I finished reading the first book of the Malazan Book of the Fallen by Stephen Erickson. The book was called Gardens of the Moon. I had heard it talked about in various sci-fi fantasy book circles and heard it was good, and it did not disappoint. Burp 7? That was a big sip. Had to tilt all the way back. Okay, now we're on to the black, and let's try and eyeball the amount I need to finish up these arms. Maybe let's just do it just a little bit more. We'll see how that lasts. I think this is the... Okay, this one has less work done on it, so it'll take a bit longer. We'll thin this black paint just the smallest amount. Good to know, Robert. I wish I had the reading discipline I had back in my early teen years when I was reading the Wheel of Time books. I made it all the way to the 6th one. You know, those books among others as well. I think by the time I got to this, by the time I finished the 6th Wheel of Time book, I was like, I need a break from this series. I might have read the first like book and a half or 2.5 books of the Shannara trilogy by Terry. I think it was by Terry Brooks. I think that's what I followed up Wheel of Time with. The Wheel of Time was more memorable than the Terry Brooks or the Shannara books. You know, this was years ago. I've read plenty of other books since, but you know, not as much as I really want. But you know, it's like painting more models from the backlog. You always feel like you wanted to do more. Or at least I do. The Conan comics. So those are adapted from the original Conan novels. Yeah, I never engaged too much with the Conan the Barbarian franchise. Maybe I was just like... I mean, I enjoyed the Arnold Schwarzenegger movies. I don't know what it was. Maybe it's because there was like... I didn't like the aesthetic as much as like the more medievals, like knights in armor type stuff. If there's anything with a dragon in it, that's like an almost guaranteed sell for me, because I just, as a boy, I was obsessed with the dragons. Arguably still am now. But you know, I haven't, I'm not so obsessed with dragons to the point where like, if there's a dragon themed faction in an army, I'll always have to play that one. You know, like in War Machine, I didn't play the Legion of Everblight, which is like arguably the most draconic faction. I do own the Archangel model because it's a very, very nice dragon model. And I just knew I wanted to have it as a display piece someday. So I eventually bought one. Used, actually, on the old used market. Last year I read the first 2 books, so I guess the only books from the King Killer Chronicles by Patrick Rothfuss. One of my friends kept nagging me to read those books, and they're pretty good, especially for a guy's like first major series. They were a little like cheese, but it was like still entertaining cheese. Like there are a lot of chapters that were like very exciting, adrenaline filled reads, but the protagonist was a bit of a Mary Sue or a Gary Stew, as you'd say, but they're still like entertaining reads. So I'll definitely read the next book whenever that comes out. I'm reading one of the some supplementary Lord of the Rings material right now. I'm reading The Children of Húrin. And that's some pretty chill Tolkien vibes. A little melancholic. The Enchanted Forest series, don't know that one. I watched a good YouTube video essay the other day about the film adaptation of Mortal Engines, which I never saw. I heard it was bad, you know, when it came out, so that's why I never got around to seeing it, because I had read the book as a youth and enjoyed the first book, so I was like, I'm okay with skipping this movie. I don't know if I want to see it be totally butchered, but you know, the visuals I saw from it in these YouTube videos are like, there's some genuine care put into the design of them. It was one of those movies that was kind of in production hell, it seemed, for a while. Like, just a lot of things went wrong. I think Peter Jackson was like originally going to be directing it, but then he had to take over on The Hobbit after Guillermo del Toro dropped out. So, I guess that really had some ripple effects. The whole Hobbit fiasco. Yeah, I don't think that is amusing reading Children of Húrin before Lord of the Rings, but I can't imagine that spoiling anything really. Sometimes it's easy to forget like how many years are in between the events of, like, you know, the books like Children of Húrin or The Fall of Gondolin and the events of Lord of the Rings. It's quite a lot of time. And I have read the Silmarillion, and that's one where it's like, you know, so much goes on. The Silmarillion is so dense and like so like there's so much to interpret, and it's like kind of asking for a second read, but it's also like not the easiest read, so it's hard to like give it a reread. It's almost like, yeah, I think last year, instead of rereading it, I just like watched it. I like had a big binge of Lord of the Rings lore on YouTube. Yeah, there's lots of good lore playlists to put on while you're painting or doing something else. And I also had a period, I think it was when I was watching House of the Dragon, I had a period where I was doing the same, but with Game of Thrones lore videos. You know, and the channel In Deep Geek came in clutch, because he has lots of videos about Lord of the Rings and the Song of Ice and Fire. Yeah, I mean, I guess it probably seems out of the norm just because Children of Húrin is a far less popular book. That's what I'd say. Yeah, when this black is used up and these arms are done, I will definitely be in need of a stretch break. Now we're at 1 hour and 12 minutes, not bad. Yeah, I've got another book I'm working on right now. It's like a book of long-form essays about like modern myths. Like, you know, like Gulliver's Travels and Frankenstein. But that's also like, the essays in it are pretty long and analytical, so it's been like a slow go. It's not like the pages don't turn as fast as they do with like something more poetic like Children of Húrin. I feel like I should, once I'm done Children of Húrin, I should like power through the myth essay book, because I don't want to have too many books on the go. You know, I really want to break into my next, or this book I bought in the UK about the 30 Years' War, so I can just get nerdy about that military history. I'm not super interested in the 30 Years' War from like, or my initial interest wasn't because of like the whole religious war aspect between the Protestants and the Catholics. It was mostly just like, oh, it's like the aesthetic from Warhammer Fantasy Empire Army. And then, you know, I like started watching videos about the 30 Years' War and learning about, you know, the actual military units that the Empire stuff was inspired by, and like Landsknecht mercenaries and all that. Sorry, Highside, I was getting caught up talking about the 30 Years' War. John Cloud Gundam. That's good. Yeah, academic books are a slow read. Most of the academic books I read were about like communications and culture type stuff. It wasn't like military history, so we'll see how maybe the we'll see how the 30 Years' War book goes. What war do I know most about? That's a good one. I don't think I'd be an expert in any particular war. I kind of had just like a lot of general surface knowledge about. About, you know, like the most famous battles and wars out there. I wish or one area I definitely need to fill in my gaps on is the English Civil War and the War of the Roses. And, you know, I even have a lot of gaps to fill in on the 30 Years' War. Whenever I finish that book I got on the 30 Years' War, that'll probably be the one I'm most, the one I know the most about, to answer your question. Perhaps in a different timeline, my major in university would have been in history or military history. The colonies in the Earth Federation. I mean, I don't know I'm an expert in the 1 Year War, but I've watched a decent amount of Gundam stuff. I know a decent amount about the 1 Year War. I'm not like, I know there's some people that are way more knowledgeable about the Gundam lore than I am. Hello again, Shrekus. And Robert, are there any colors that you know for sure you want to use? So I could give you a recommendation on what to pair if you already have a color selected, but that would just be my opinion on what colors I think look good, which is a little subjective. Yeah, when it comes to wars that are like from fictional settings, definitely can be pretty knowledgeable about some of those. Like the Signar Kador War from War Machine. Oh, even with that, I'm probably a little rusty. You could say I'm a bit of an expert in Total War Warhammer. I'm not an expert like the YouTuber Legend of Total War or anything, but you know, I can play my campaigns on very hard difficulty. There might be a campaign or two I can maybe handle on Legendary. So maybe that makes me just a semi-pro at best, not a an expert. I beat Valkyria Chronicles. Because that doesn't make me an expert in Valkyria Chronicles, but I recommend playing that game, it's cool. Oh, camera's being a bit laggy. Black on this arm is almost done though. Whew. Green, black, and white, or violet, purple. I mean, I'd say black, white, and purple would be good, or black, white, and violet. And you could include green in that pair, or in that combo, but only in like a tiny, tiny bit. Like just some green accents for the eyes. Yeah, that sounds like too much colors there, Robert. And Shrek is the coolest gimmick that I've seen on a gunpla kit. Interesting question. Oh, I forgot I have to paint this shoulder bit, or the inner shoulder piece. I don't know, the one that immediately came to mind was the legs from the Real Grade Hainu. Had just like a lot of cool sliding plates and stuff. Made it a bit of a nightmare for painting purposes, but looked really cool. The flying gun bits part of the aerial kit is also pretty cool gimmick. It's not as like mechanically impressive as like the legs of the Real Grade Hainu or anything, but it's still a fun time. And yes, IKEA color scheme, that's always nice and flashy. These inner shoulder pieces, when I reassemble the kit for the next whip pictures, or work in progress pictures I should say, I'll probably like just take the arm joint out here instead. Here, if you can see. So if I take this inner piece out every time, it'll just chip way too much is my guess. It's gonna be a bit of an experiment reassembling it for the first time. Ninja Turtles and Cyan Armor, those are two fun Space Marine teams there. Well, if you want, if they find the rules for Warhammer too much at first, you could try something like one-page rules. They kind of like simplify the Warhammer formula a bit. Alright, let's just have a sip of water and then we'll evaluate the status of these here arm pieces. A restaurant decorated with gunpla. Oh, I feel like you should tell us more about that. Thanks for the offer, Robert, but I'm in the D&D group already currently, and I only got time for one. Appreciate the offer, though. Sounds like you've got your hands full with 6 players already anyways. Alright, I think we can call these arms done for now. We'll need a bit of cleanup work later. But, you know, that'll be later. For the purposes of the stream, we'll call these done. It's not quite dry yet, though. Let's make sure I didn't... Oh, I did miss one tiny little part on the front. Right here. To let that dry over here. So let's just put it back on the clip to be safe. No, I will not move to America, Robert. Nice try. Yeah, that color scheme also sounds nice. Alright, let's grab the chest. I think I'll switch to painting with a gloved hand for a bit, but first I'm gonna have a little stretch. Listen to my back crack. Alright, let's get back to it. That sounds cool, high side. What kind of restaurant was it? Was it in East Asia? I bumped the camera with my head there. So I've started like blocking out the colors on this. It was a little tricky to figure out where I wanted stuff to go. But I think I got it mostly figured out now. I don't want it to be like a 50-50 mix of black and turquoise, because turquoise is the main color. But at the same time, I don't want to overload myself with too many turquoise pieces to do freehand, or to feel like compelled to do freehand over. And I'm painting black over black on this collar piece just so it like This is like the primer black, so I'm just painting it with the black so it'll match the game color black that I've hand painted onto the other parts. It's kind of mixed at the color blocking with the black in here. I feel like parts of it could be turquoise, but yeah, it's hard to decide. I think I'll stay committed to the black I decided on earlier for now. What do you all think of what I did for the permit section by just like splotching a bunch of shifter paint on there? It felt like a good experiment to try out some shifter paint on to see how it holds up, or see how it compares to the like pre-colored permit pieces it comes with. On a college campus that served Korean chicken, that sounds great. I'm happy you were able to visit that restaurant. Iron Elemental, I'm in Western Canada. So that explains why it's 5:20 in the morning. In the Netherlands, I'm assuming. Yeah, DMing is a blast. Ooh, a Legend of the Five Ring game, cool. My preferred class, I'm usually the DM myself, because I get bored playing characters sometimes. I like playing, I think the 5th edition of character class I've played the most of is Cleric, I believe. I like playing Clerics, because you have access to a lot of spells. And, you know, being the healer always makes you feel important, because you're very needed. You know, to keep people alive and stuff. I did have fun playing a barbarian though. In the campaign I'm playing it right now, I'm playing a sorcerer that's going to, they're a storm sorcerer that's going to eventually multi-class into a rune knight fighter. They're a Goliath, so they're still only level 1 though, so it'll take them a little bit to like fully unlock their flavorful class combo. And not sure, Robert, the second one maybe, because it's got a higher number, so maybe it gets the fancier gold color. feel like this torso piece is better at staying in focus than the arm pieces were. Can't remember if I decided if I'd paint this piece black or turquoise. I think I decided turquoise. Okay, now trying to think whether I want to paint this flap with the black or turquoise. Yeah, next time I see Bret Hart, I'll tell him that Robert Jameson said hello. Bret Hart's opening a wrestling-themed bar in my province, I think. Yeah, they are a good place to try the tester paints, or the shifter paints. Ah yes, the Ranger pet is always fun. Yeah, and it's hard to get the shifter paint to like... Let's see if I can... I find the shifting effect always shows up when you're not expecting it. But yeah, I've had a hard time trying to get it to show up on camera with like other projects too. Which paints are you asking about? The metallics? The metallics shifters I used were Turbo Dork, Ground is Lava, and Vallejo Silver Pink. The Vallejo Silver Pink was mostly used on the sword actually, which I don't think I've really shown off on stream, but the permit pieces, I think it's mostly Ground is Lava. There might be like a tiny bit of Silver Pink mixed in. Okay, where was I? Still have black on the palette. Right, okay, I think I will paint this flap black actually. I can always change my mind later. The main times that it's like a pain in the butt to change my mind to go back is if I need to make a section gold that I painted over the original gold. If I'm switching from black to turquoise, it's not that big a deal. Stormcast Griffhound for tiger stats. The parrot part could be talk, but always impersonates chicken to confuse people. Nice. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't pay much attention to what Bret Hart is up to, so I just remember hearing in the news at one point about him opening that bar. I don't know if it's already opening or if it's opening next year or what. Not really my cup of tea, but some cool Alberta history there, I suppose. Or Alberta celebrities. I never really got that into wrestling. I was too busy getting into Lord of the Rings and stuff. PS2 games. Yeah, I think the bar was gonna be called Hitman's or something. Don't quote me on that. Yeah, I believe you, Robert. King of the Rings. Yeah, good pun there. Hello, Brenton. Thank you for appreciating the shifter paint color scheme. I've been enjoying shifter paints a lot the last couple years. If it weren't for the shifter paints, who knew if I'd even have or keep my airbrush setup operational. I probably would. It's too useful for batch painting certain things. Like some Conquest minis I need to be working on after this. More than some Conquest minis. It's a lot of Conquest minis. What's everyone's opinions on like super clickbaity thumbnails and titles, like when it's in niche content like gunpla or minis? If someone's doing like a Mr. Beast style like reaction face in the thumbnail and the title is something like vaguely clickbaity or sensational, does that make you more likely to click on it? I know I put my face in my thumbnails too. I gotta acknowledge there's some level of clickbait there. I can't say I've ever tried to do a Mr. Beast type face or anything. I don't know if I'd be I don't know if I could do that in a convincing manner, to be honest. I think we're done the black on the torso for now. These arm pieces are dry enough. We'll take them off the clips and set them underneath the dust cover. Yeah, like that, Robert. We're at an hour 43. I don't know if I'll break 3 hours on this stream. $40K. Well, I mean, I think $40K has a lot of clickbait thumbnails just because there's a lot of $40K content in general. Because, like, arguably $40K is the biggest miniatures game out there. Yes, I'm liking all these emoji reacts. They're very accurate to thumbnails. Yeah, I think 40K has a lot of clickbait thumbnail titles and stuff just because there's a lot of like 40K videos in general. Okay, let's try and mount it this way. We still got a bit of black on the palette. Is there anywhere I should use it? Doesn't really look like it. Alright, we'll just leave it there then. Just thin it down a bit so it doesn't get too funky. And the way it dries up anyways. Alright, interesting thoughts here. I mean, I kind of feel the same way. Like, I'll still, you know, if the clickbait is enticing enough for something I'm specifically interested in, I'll click on it, even if the YouTube, like the Mr. Beast face, reaction face annoys me. But yeah, I'll be a little annoyed if the title doesn't have anything to do with the content itself, which does happen. You'll click on a hand-painted gunpla even if I'm doing the Mr. Beast face. It's good to know. Just gotta reactivate some of this turquoise here. Just prepping the paint zone for some new paint, I guess you could say. I mean, Mecha Guy Kotsu doesn't really put his face in the video thumbnails, but you know, his titles can get a little clickbaity sometimes, along the lines of like, it's over for Bandai. I think he had like something about like Bandai is doomed, or in a video where he was talking about just like general plastic pollution. How that clashes with, you know, Bandai wants to put out model kits for us to buy from them, but that also conflicts with like adding more plastic waste. You know, that's a problem that lots of industries have to deal with. So I'd say that makes like a good effective clickbait title. But you know, you could also say that a lot of his clickbait titles get a little too hyperbolic when he calls like, you know, a lot of the times they'll refer to a new kit of like the best master grade ever or whatever. But you know, that's pretty par for the course for YouTube stuff. Clickbait is like is somewhat necessary, and I've definitely neglected some effective clickbaiting practices before. I'm sure it's like held me back in some ways. But what can I say? I don't always, or I haven't found myself wanting to do a Mr. Beast face. Or, you know, just the general, like, YouTube wow poggers face, or whatever you call it. Say, a lot of the time, though, I'm less likely to click on a video if there's, like, a super, like, poggers reacting Mr. Beast react face thumbnail with a big clickbaity title. Has to be something I'm particularly like interested in or intrigued by for me to click on the super clickbaity thumbnails, I think. Scratch bashing. I'll have to investigate some of his thumbnails then. Do I do photo shoots with my kits? Do you mean like me posing next to the kits and taking photos with them? I don't do that, but like every time I finish a kit and have to take pictures of it, it's like I would describe it as a photo shoot. You gotta set aside a significant amount of time to like capture proper photos and videos of it all. It's like an afternoon's worth of work a lot of the time, and like more work if it's a posable kit with like multiple accessories and stuff. Like usually at the end of the project, there's less like or for me anyways, there's less posability and like less accessories and weapons to take separate photos of at the end of a project. So sometimes like the fresh out of box photos take longer because I'm just trying to showcase all the different accessories, you know, like the aerial one that took decent amount of time, but the painted photos sometimes take longer because it's a painted kit, so I have to be more careful and deliberate with my movements, and that like slows me down. But either way, it is like a full-on photo shoot at the end of a project, a photo/video shoot in my case. Even if it's like the Vidar Batos project where I finished it on streams and didn't really have a dedicated video, I still like shot some video for that just for like the shorts and like Instagram posts. Oh, whoops, I touched that part when it was still wet. That's gonna show up. Gotta just splotch some paint on there and let it dry. Gotta make sure I don't touch that part. Might have to sand it down a little bit later. When I'm done all the initial base coats, I'll have a quick little round off camera, sanding, or like really finely sanding down some of the more egregious imperfections. Whoops, I touched that piece right after I said I needed to not. I think that means I should paint a different section. Yeah, well, Mecha Guy Codes, it was also like he's been doing it so long, he's kind of in a class of his own. Because his audience is so big. His audience is so big that even if he like does something wildly different with his thumbnail or video, there'll still be a decent chunk of people who watch it. You know, that's the case for most YouTubers that have been doing it as long as he has. Alright, see ya, High Side. Thanks for coming by. Right, I painted some of these sections on the back black before, but not a lot of this is showing, so I think it's just getting it's just all getting turquoised. And because, you know, most of this will be covered up by the backpack. Maybe there'll be enough exposed on the sides to do like a little bit of freehand when we get there. We'll see. We'll just have to wait and see what it looks like when the backpack's on. And once I attach the backpack, I guess the backpack comes off easy enough. I'll probably keep it detached for future painting sections. Like this little section here, I'm definitely gonna leave as the gold because that won't be showing at all. Sorry, I stopped being as talkative for a bit there. I accidentally touched the wet paint on this side piece enough times. I figured I needed to concentrate a bit more. That piece is like dried now, and it only made a tiny little mistake there. Or I only messed it up a little bit, so I'll catch up on the chat in a moment here. There's only a bit of paint left on the palette, so I'll just use that up. Okay. Yes, the hand-painted gunpla do give trouble when putting them back together. You'd have to be careful. And yeah, that's why I'm like, when I hand paint, a lot of it is just like assembled and glued, and like the sub-assemblies, I'm like, you know, it's like the full torso and waist, and I'm just like putting the arms back on. But you know, even then, I am a little worried about some of the how some of the shoulder joints are going to go back together. Every kit's a little bit different and involves a bit of experimentation in terms of like what I can get away with leaving disassembled and what I can't. Yeah, I mean, in hand painting a perfect grade kit, that's a lot to think about. You know, because I haven't hand painted a perfect grade before, so I've definitely like thought about that before, and it's pretty daunting. And like the RX-78 perfect grade unleashed, like that, I have no interest in painting that at all. So many like opening hatches and gimmicks and stuff that would just not be, like, just not for me, it's not worth like the effort to try and like hand paint that. I can probably take the glove off too. Well, we're past 2 hours, people. I think I got it in me to finish the torso. And then we'll probably finish the stream there. Hopefully, if I'm on the ball tomorrow, I'll have another stream planned for tomorrow. I'll probably be like scrambling to finish the base coats of like the random small pieces that I'm not showing on stream, and then like taking photos for the next whip stage before I like make the new thumbnail for the stream. So if I fall a bit behind on that, I might just like might have to wait until till the weekend or next week for the next stream. I might be able to stream on Saturday. I'm not sure. There's still, I'm waiting for some people to get back to me about weekend stuff, but you know, with this stream I'm doing right now, it's my second stream of the week, so I'm happy with getting at least 2 in there. And whatever the next stream ends up being, it'll be edge highlighting, so you can look forward to that. This will be the last of the base coating streams, so you know, soon enough all the base coats will be done. I'll be able to get a new thumbnail for the streams and the socials that isn't just like the base colors of the aerial, and it'll actually indicate to people of like, oh yes, I'm painting it turquoise and black. You know, this stream has gotten a few less viewers than the last stream, which totally makes sense since it's just more of the same base coating. If I do too much of the same thing in one stream consecutive days in a row, it makes sense the viewership would go down. I do appreciate those of you who have come to watch anyways, though. I have once again thinned the paint just a bit too much. I need to focus on working my way down. Just like focus on actually finishing the areas at the top here first. Sorry, we're out of focus there. Yep, quality over quantity. It's generally what I try and get at for the most part. For any of you watching this that also watched me stream work on the hand painted Gushin, I think that one ended up having at least 4 streams, maybe more. I enjoyed streaming that project. And I've enjoyed every project I stream, I think, as far as I can remember. When I'm like working through my massive conquest backlog after this, I'll definitely have lots of opportunities for streaming that. You can just watch me regret my decision to paint freehand on every shield live and on air. Oh, sorry, we out of focus again. the head, painting the head isn't gonna take that long, but it's gonna take a lot of extra time to really think about how I want to block in the color on that one. Because that's where so much of the focus is drawn. I need to make sure I block it in the most satisfying way. No, I think last stream I did 8 burps. I think I made it to 7 on this stream, at least 6. I mean, I agree with you, the burps of this stream weren't as strong as last stream. But I wouldn't say they were half the burps. Thanks for being invested in the burps in general, though. I do like burping. I think I'm good at it. What am I more talented at, the burps or the painting? Probably the painting, I guess. It's not a burp channel after all. So I'm sure some people out there watched or got recommended one of my videos, saw me burp, and then like noped out of there. And then they just know me like, oh yeah, it's that one gunpla YouTuber I tried to watch once and then he burped. And it turned me off from watching. Which, you know, honestly is fair. You can't just throw a bass boosted burp in there and expect everyone to applaud. So you can see how the paint I applied on this front flap there is too, it was thinned too much, so now it's drying into these weird blobs kinda, but they're too dry to the point now I can't push the paint around more, because then I'll tear the edge of it and it'll dry in like a weird ring. So that's, you know, slightly annoying, but not uncommon to deal with. If they were worried about a burp, they wouldn't last long in a relationship. Yep. Blue Parappa puts up with so many of my burps. She's a real trooper. It'd be funny if she was secretly watching the stream in the other room and entered the chat with something to say about that. I don't think she is, though. She hears enough of my talking and burping. She doesn't need to watch the streams. Also, there's like a weird delay. If she can like hear me talking through the wall and then is also watching the stream. There's like a delay between when she hears it on stream and when she hears it in real life. So that's pretty distracting. I'd understand why. That's another good reason not to need to tune in. I appreciate her letting me hog the bandwidth to do the streaming in the first place. Yeah, gold turquoise definitely has an Egyptian vibe to it. Too bad I'm not freehanding hieroglyphics or Egyptian themed designs across the armor. I'm mostly just refining the ideas I came up with on the Gushin, so be similar looking squiggly freehand to what's on that boy. Which, you know, is inspired by late medieval, early modern period parade armor. Oh yeah, look at those ugly paint blobs that dried on the side skirt there. Gonna have to do a blob of paint over top of that to try and cover it up. Making a stamp for patterns? I have not considered that. Because the way I get the pattern, or the one I'm putting the patterns on there, it is kind of like a freeform improvisational brushwork kind of deal. So I kind of come up with it on the fly and then, you know, like recreate it in the areas where it should be symmetrical. But, you know, a stamp would definitely get more matching or like more consistent results. So you bring up a valid point. Alright, time to refill the palette. YouTube closed on you, Robert? Is that what happened? Back to the big brush for a bit. Not gonna thin the paint too much. Just a teeny bit. Yeah, no thank. Yeah, the Gushin is a bit of a strange model, but I love it. Thank you, Iron Elemental. And see you, Robert. Thanks for coming by. Have a good sleep. Hope to see you next time. I guess one thing I should say about this project I don't think I've said before is it's gonna have the same blue round base that the Gushin has, because you know they're gonna be on the same crew. But I won't be painting one of those bases in this video just because I'm in a bit of a time crunch, and you know, it's gonna be the exact same kind of base. It's nothing really new to show for the video. And I guess one new thing to show would be like, the aerial's gonna be in flight. So I'll need some sort of like flight stand to attach to the blue base. And I'm not sure how I'm gonna do that yet. Like, I've got a few ideas, I'm just like not ready to nail it down yet. And I don't plan on having the Gamma Wolves crew finished anytime soon. I'm just like, much like the other Gamma Wolves crews, it's a slow process to build up all the crew members, but with this free-handed team, it's especially slow because, you know, I'm taking my time trying to do the more complicated freehand and kind of learn a new technique in that way. And I've also got 2 teams already, so I don't feel as rushed to do so. So that's one detail about the upcoming video that you can learn here first on the stream. You heard it here first on Millennial streamin' Mayhem. If I did a stream during the daytime on a weekday for me, so that'd be like, you know, 1 p.m. Mountain Time, how many of you would still come and watch? So I guess that would be more like at a reasonable time of the night for some of the people in Europe. And that would be like in the, you know, wee hours of the morning for the East Asia people probably. And then, you know, be like the middle of the day for most of the continental US. It occurs to me if I'm falling a bit behind and I'm not able to do a stream tomorrow, I could possibly do one during the day on Thursday, but I'll say now that's not super likely to happen. I think I've done daytime streams in the past before. They tend to be better for me in the evening though, for a multitude of reasons. Oh, well, I don't usually sleep in the middle of the day, so that won't be a problem. Artie Chard. I would never stream at a time when I would typically be sleeping. Unless I was doing some real hardcore marathon or last minute painting deal for something. It would need to be pretty urgent for me to paint at a time when I'm usually sleeping. And I'd have to talk quietly if Blue Parappa is sleeping in the other room. Yeah, those blobs of paint are still pretty visible. Gonna have to do some sanding work on there. Bummer. Getting close to being done the torso here though. Oh, I forgot there's that part at the back. Should probably take care of that. Alright, good to know, Iron Elemental. Perhaps a late morning stream would be better to let the EU people watch. As they're winding down for bed, perhaps. Alright, got the first coat down on there. I'll have to tidy up the rest with the small brush. Forget the mornings. Oh damn, it's 5:30 a.m. where you are. What you doing up so early? You got insomnia? Or you just got a flipped sleep schedule? Nothing wrong with that. Okay, I think once the rest of this turquoise paint's used up, I'm gonna wrap up the stream. We're close enough to being done the torso for stream purposes. I'm gonna definitely have to do some work fixing the waist flap, among other parts. We'll save that once everything is base coat, and I'm gonna do a round of cleanup before the old photos. Although, yeah, maybe it might be better to do the cleanup after the photos in case anything gets damaged more when I'm disassembling and reassembling it. Good thinking, Liam. That might be what I end up doing. that means I can get the stream announcement out there faster. If I am gonna stream tomorrow, that's what I'll do. You know, who knows, I might wake up in the morning and be like, I don't think I have the energy for a third stream this week. You will all get another aerial stream eventually, though. Do not fret. Oh, you work night shifts, I see. I'm glad you appreciate the stream so much, Artie Chard. Iron Elemental, it's like 10:30 p.m. for me right now. Okay, pretty much used up the paint there. Sorry if it was super out of focus at the end there. I was just kind of powering through. Hello Caleb, you're coming in right at the end of the stream here. I'm gonna wrap things up at a good old 2.5 hours. So you've all gotten 5.5 hours of stream this week, which is pretty good. You might maybe perhaps get another 2 to 2.5 hours tomorrow night. Depends on how the rest of my base coding goes, because I don't want to do any more base coding live streams. So the next one, whenever it happens, will be a edge highlighting stream. But there's still a few other small pieces I need to do the base coats of off camera, so yeah, any last minute super chats, comments, questions, get them in now while I'm tidying up. Thanks for helping me crunch the numbers there, Iron Elemental. I was just kind of speculating for fun. When it comes to the streams, most of my core audience has to do with like watching my long form YouTube videos. The streams are kind of just like I stream when I can. Well, thanks for swinging in, Caleb. Cleaning up a few particles I'm finding on the palette here. And thank you for coming by, Iron Elemental. Alright, stay tuned everybody for the next stream. I have another slightly busy weekend, so the next stream will either be tomorrow or next week, it's looking. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays lately have been like evenings where I'm free a lot of the time, so perhaps those will be more of my like pseudo stream schedule days. Like usual, it's more based around the projects I'm working on than like an actual schedule. Alright, well thanks again for coming everybody. Appreciate you viewing yet another stream of base coding, and I hope to bring you more content again soon. Good night, or good morning.